Hello, this is Danny Raymond, the voice behind Ray's Guide. In the latest Inside Star Citizen, CIG introduced Seraphim Station. Considering how Crusader industry relies heavily on Christian themes in its society, it is an appropriate choice. For those unfamiliar with Judeo-Christian lore or unwilling to use Wikipedia, the Seraphim are the rank of angels closest to the throne of God. They are described in most detail in the book of Isaiah, chapter 6. In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord, high and exalted, seated on a throne, and the trail of his robe filled the temple. Above him were seraphim, each with 6 wings. With 2 wings they covered their faces, with 2 they covered their feet, and with 2 they were flying. And they were calling to one another, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord Almighty. All the earth is full of his glory. At the sound of their voices, the doorpost and threshold shook, and the temple was filled with smoke. Physically, it is the same kit of parts as other low Earth orbit stations. The only addition was a security deck where we could be able to bring bounties directly to rather than having to drag them through the whole station, a revelation that made every Quantanium miner no doubt jealous. I suspect that the other 3 low Earth orbit stations, Tressler, Bagini, and Everest, will be also getting security decks as well as more docking stations, since the Hull C being introduced, all of them will be needing more than 3. But the companion to that was that Orison, like Levski, was going to go away until CIG can reintroduce it. So I decided to go back to when we got our first view of it during CitizenCon 2015, and the demonstration of what Alpha 2.0 would look like, described as Crusader version 0. No shops, no admin deck, no commodity trading kiosks, no package delivery boxes, and no huge pad 0. And yet thrilling to see for the first time. Top Happy said that it hadn't changed much. I would disagree. It has changed a lot, just not able to be changed enough. But if you are a newcomer to Star Citizen and wondering why all the old-timers are getting all sort of wistful about even temporary departure of Port Olisar, this is why. We remember waking up here the very first time many years ago with a sense of newness that we will likely only ever come close to again until the first time we exit the jump tunnel into Pyro. A whole new world wanting to play in.
And so it tells us what how many landing pads do we have on Port Olisar? One of our players is taking a Hornet, so we're taking a Hornet, and the other 3 are going to be on the. So I guess this was on landing pad 2, and then the other guys are on 4, which you can see over here. And if we look over here, we can see the guys walking out on the landing pad over
there. Now, Todd Pappy said that he wants, in a future date, to talk about what to do with Port Olisar.
And then in the future, we'll talk about what we're going to do with Port Olisar.
But on the other hand, I am going to talk today about what to do with Port Olisar, because I think that there is an urgent need for the old gal, something that it is uniquely suited for, and for which the deficiency of it, as a full-charge space station, are in fact benefits, and furthermore, something can act as an enabler of 2 of the most eagerly awaited additions to the game. Have I got your attention? Port Olisar should be converted to a test bed for user-managed shops, as they will appear in the Kraken Privateer and Banu Merchantman. Because look at it the right way, and Port Olisar is 4 groups of landing pads connecting to a set of 4 shops. 5 of you include the commodity terminals. Viewed through the right lens, Olisar is essentially 4 Kraken Privateers docked at the same location. In other words, the perfect place to test the balance, operation, and functions of a trade ship like the Banu Merchantman or Kraken Privateer without actually having to first build the ships. At the basics, Olisar would be stripped down to the abandoned but not derelict condition. Gravity's off, power is down, shelves are bare, airlock doors are open, ASOP and HABs are not working. Then if a player delivers a certain quantity of hydrogen, they can activate a switch to start up the power plant, and lights, gravity, and life support all kick back in on that shard. As long as the hydrogen keeps getting delivered, the lights will stay on. Then, for a minimum bankroll to get started, let's say 1 million UEC each, the player can choose to open 1 or more of the shops. Now, at this point, there are likely hundreds of questions that arise. How does the player decide what to sell? How do they decide the buy and sell price? How can they limit who can visit the shops? Can they contract to purchase some goods directly from the factory at wholesale? And then how are they delivered? Who controls and protects the landing pads? And that's just the start. Now, normally in one of my videos, I would start to dig into each of those tricky questions and suggest how they might work, but instead I'm going to do the opposite and dismiss them all with one counter question. Well, how would it work on a Kraken privateer? Because that's the real purpose here, not to figure out how Port Olisar works, but how a Kraken privateer and the Banu merchantman would work. And with Port Olisar functioning as a test bed for all those other questions, design work can proceed on the Kraken privateer and Banu merchantman separately, unimpeded by all those other questions being sorted out at Port Olisar. Remember how I said in a prior video that it is very difficult to get stuff done when it crosses 2 or more team boundaries? Having a separate development test area is one of the main ways to counteract that effect. So let's say that Olisar has done that task. Player shops are now figured out and the merchantman and privateer are in the game. Then is it time to send Port Olisar plunging into a fiery doom? No, because then there is something else, a promise, older even than Olisar, and that is the $19 million stretch goal, which said, in part, players will compete to own and operate a limited number of space stations across the galaxy. Now, these were envisioned as the Gold Horizon stations, but definitely Port Olisar, operating in a user-managed manner, would qualify. After it has finished opening the door for the merchantman and Kraken privateer, a few more tweaks on the competitive side and operations side could have Port Olisar, at least for the Stanton system, being the realization of the $19 million stretch goal 10 years ago. So Port Olisar is far from needing to be sent off as a useless relic. It has some vital, even urgent roles that it is uniquely suited to play in the verse. Now for an update on our giveaways, first we have the 10,000, now 12,000 subscriber thank you giveaway for the LTI Hull C, the colossal cargo container carrying craft, to be given away when the C goes live, now on the roadmap for 3.20, and the big annual IAE ship giveaway for the winner's choice of the Galaxy Complete, the massive modular mining moving medical machine, or the Banu big box bargain bazaar known as the Merchantman. One entry per video for both giveaways. Just be a member and be entered automatically. Otherwise, just be a subscriber and comment, somehow including the secret word. And the secret word for this video is either of the 2 ships that Port Olisar can serve as a test bed for. Fly safe, keep it real, and I'll see you in the verse. This is Daniel Raymond for Ray's Guide.